Sup gamers, I'm back with my all-new guide for the Risk of Rain 2 on Nintendo GameCube. Let's jump right in. First thing you're going to want to do is select your character. I like Bow Woman, but you can also play Engineer if you like mostly doing nothing while playing video games. Next, you're going to want to choose your difficulty level. There are 3 options here. Rainstorm is the one the game defaults to for everyone and is clearly the way the developers meant the game to be played. Drizzle just spawns you in the last area with 3 million gold and 40 items, so only use that if you're trying to coast. Finally, you have Monsoon, which is the difficulty you play if you're a fucking asshole. Now that you're done roaming around the world and have presumably fallen off a cliff already, let me introduce you to the bread and butter of this game. Seeing as this is a roguelike game, items are distributed randomly around the pre-made maps in crates of various sizes and coolness. Unlike a lot of other games in its genre, a single item usually doesn't really do much, so you're going to want to run around to get as many stacks of everything as possible. This is also why you get these 3D printers everywhere. Besides making you a single-shot pistol out of chocolate, it also allows you to turn your other lesser items into 500 stacks of the health kit, making you immortal. This also means you really don't have to worry about picking up an item and having it ruin your life forever. The only times you're going to pick a straight bad item is 80% of the equipment, but that's a story for another day. In the meantime, you may have noticed by now that you can't actually open any of these weird boxes because they have strange symbols floating in front of them, and your Open This Please button just makes a weird noise when you try. That's because you need money, sister, and killing enemies is how you get it. Enemies will spawn randomly nearby as you run around the world. They usually come in 2 varieties, barely even a threat or 10 million health points. Sometimes, however, special super cool versions spawn that have way more health and funtime elemental abilities. The Frost Gals make a large sphere happen when they die that will encase you in a warm, cozy blanket of ice. The Firemen and Electrobuzzes have slightly different powers that essentially just mean that their attacks will surprise kill you, even if you have the health to tank the first blast. The goal of each stage is to locate the teleporter and start its mysterious countdown. This will, of course, spawn the CEO of the local branch for you to murder and kickstart the revolution. They can also come in the spicy, freezy, or electricity varieties as well, although if you're seeing them, then you're probably overpowered enough to just slam your head against left click and take a nap until they dither away. Once this has happened, and you've been able to survive within the pain dome for long enough, you're presented with the answer to the mystery, which is either passage to the next level or portals of varying colors. This seems like a good a time as any to move on to our next topic. Shrines spawn randomly throughout the world, much like boxes do, but offer a greater variety of effects besides just giving you items. I mean, the chance shrines can, but most of the time they'll just provide you with nothing. There's also blood shrines, which will give you money in exchange for getting to hurt you, because they're just kinky like that. Next we have combat shrines, which will spawn a bunch of enemies in case you don't like waiting around for 12 minutes while the next batch spawn. The Shrine of the Woods will create a little circle of healing that will be pretty much useless to you unless it happens to spawn right next to the teleporter. There's the Altar of Gold, which lets you spend $3 million for the chance to go to Ash Lake and defeat the Golden Giant. Finally, there is by far the best shrine, which is the Mountain. This stacking effect will spawn an extra boss for each one that you activate, making that fight harder but netting you an additional item once their letter of resignation is in. There are also shrines that require the use of lunar coins. By now you may have seen these comically large discs drop off of some enemies. I know your first impulse was to run away screaming at the sight, but instead you want to walk up and pick them up because this number is the only one that's going to persist through playthroughs. These coins can be spent to do 3 different things. The first and most common are the Newt Altars. These spawn at predictable locations, and when activated, they will make a little blue orb dance around the teleporter. Besides helping the particle programmers feel like they contributed something, this also means that when the boss is defeated, a big blue portal will spawn next to it. Going through this will bring you to your friend's house. He'll either sell you his weird shit in exchange for some more coins, or allow you to turn some existing items into soup in exchange for whatever thing he found at the Goodwill this week. The other shrines are slightly less impressive. One is an odd little seed pod that you can open for 1 coin, but don't because it's usually one of the terrible active items that will kill you. The final one is the Shrine of Order, which will condense all of your items down to 1 per flavor, sometimes giving you an excellent build that will carry you for the next 4 hours, but more often than not, it will pick precisely the worst combination of things and totally kill your run. That's it, folks. I hope these tips have helped you become the ultimate master of your own home. Goodbye forever.
Alright, so got the 3D printed Liberator here. This one
This also means that when the boss is faded,